Hey everyone, welcome to DokusCore. My name is Dokus, and today we're going to do the installation video of the Prebuild on Zap Hosting. We have been asked to do this video a couple of times because on Zap Hosting the steps that you need to take to install the Prebuild is a little different than doing it locally or on a VPS with a desktop environment. So today we're going to explain you everything you need to know to host your server on Zap Hosting. All links will be in the description of everything that we visit. As usual, we will have the timestamps within the video so that you can skip ahead to the parts that you want to see. Though we do recommend for those that do not know how to install this on Zap Hosting to watch the full video and do not skip ahead to any other parts of the video. You will lose out on some crucial information that you are going to need in order to get your server running. Before we're going to do so, I want to do a huge shout out and a great thank you to Wilby in our Discord for lending us his Zap Hosting account so that we actually can make this video for a moment. So thank you Wilby for your generosity, it is truly appreciated. With that all said and done, let's install DokusCore on Zap Hosting, fasten your seatbelts, here we go. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to zaphosting.com. So let's go to zap-hosting.com and then you're going to create an account and log in. After you have done that, we're going to click on Rent a Server. We're going to click on Game Service, Cloud Game Server. And then below here, we're going to click on Rent a Game Server. Then in the search bar, you're going to type in RedM. And you will find here the RedM Linux package. This is the one that we're going to take. You can here choose the server that you want to choose, that you want to have, the one that's closest to you of course. Here you can choose the amount of slots that you want to have on your server. These are the amount of people that can join your server. Keep in mind that your server can run up to 33 players with OneSync off, and with OneSync on. With no OneSync license, you can go to 48 players, and with a OneSync license, you can go even higher than that. So here you can choose how many slots that you would like to have. So it is recommended to do at least the 32. Otherwise you will have a server that has less than the capability that the server actually normally has. Every player on your server takes around 100 MB of RAM, and that is automatically included with the amount of slots that you take. Though the amount of plugins and the amount of traffic on your server can increase this RAM a little bit. So the advice would be to give you at least 1 to 2 gigs extra space. This just to make sure that your server doesn't become laggy the moment it is heavily used. And of course you're going to do your billing. Once that is done, Zap will automatically install the server. Whenever you have done the payment and Zap installed the server, you can click here on this icon and it brings you to the web interface. What is this page? Here you can see the servers that you have rented from Zap. In this case, it's this one. It could be that the status is saying that the server is running. If so, we're going to stop this server before we continue. But you can click on your server and it brings you to the details of your server. Again, it could be that your server is running. If so, make sure that you hit the pause button and make sure it's saying standing offline. We want to change the settings on Zap whenever the server is offline, especially for the beginning. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to check if the version, the artifact version is correct. For that, we're going to scroll down to the tab called Versions. We scroll down here, and on the game version, we see here currently installed 6247. This is the latest version. That is correct. If that is so, we can continue. If it's not so, and it says recommended, then I would suggest clicking on this icon right here, and then say the latest one. When you're done, say change now. Whenever you're done, you click save. We always wait for a moment until this goes back to this status, and then we continue. Next on the list is going to be the settings. For that, we're going to scroll down and we click on the tab Settings. On this page, you can set the settings as you want to have them on the server. A lot of these settings are already done by DokusCore, so you can turn them off, and we're going to show you which one. Now scrolling down, we have the basic settings. The server name, the project description, the admins tab and the text tab are disabled. They probably are enabled for you, you can disable them. These are all done by the DokusCore config files. The admins tab is disabled here because how DokusCore is handling admins is it's done via the database. It is not done via ACE permissions. The database, the users can make 3 characters, and within the database you can exactly choose which character of them gets the admin. So you can make sure that, for example, if an admin is in roleplay, that he or she takes his or her roleplay character and not play with the character where the admin is registered on. So that's why we don't use this. If you, however, activate this tab, all the information will be added to the server.cfg file. Right now we have everything ordered into separate files, and if you activate one of these tabs and then fill in the information, everything of that is written into the server.cfg file. So it will not be ordered, and you would actually have that twice in your configs. The reason that we split the files in multiple configs is to keep it organized, and also for those that, for example, use DXadmin, you do not want to have all your admins seeing your license key and your Steam API key. So by splitting up the files, we make sure that this is not going to happen, because DXadmin only shows you the config file, the server.cfg file, and it does not show the other config files. We simply execute these files within the server.cfg file so that they are included and that you have all the information needed to start up your server, but not all information is visible directly in the server.cfg. Continuing, we see here the game type. Also, this is set via DokusCore in the config file. We say yes, we want Zap to automatically configure the database. The language you can leave on standard. This is also set in the config file. OneSync can either be activated or deactivated. When activated, you can go up to 48 players, but keep in mind that OneSync on RedM only runs in Infinity. It does not run Legacy. If you do turn on Legacy via the config file, then you're going to hit into multiple problems, which one of them is going to be an infinite loading screen. So whenever you turn it on, just use set OneSync on, and that will automatically set it to Infinity. You can keep this deactivated. Within the config file of DokusCore, it's already set to be on. To check if the server is actually on OneSync, whenever you're logged into the server, you can type into your F8 console OneSync. This will give you the information on OneSync, and you will see if it's on or off. May it be off in your case, then you can come to this console right here and set deactivated to activate. If you use Archon, you can turn this one on. As long as you don't use any kind of Archon, you can deactivate this. Zap Hosting gives you already a Steam Web API key. If you want your own Web API key to be used, you can click on this link and create one. Steam will ask you to log in, and then it asks you to fill in a domain. That domain can be anything. It doesn't need to be a domain extension. So you can just type a name in there and click continue. You do not need to own a domain to have a Steam API key. With the enforced game build, it could be that it stands for you at 1491. I, at this right moment, at the time of making this video, recommend keeping it on 1436. 1491 has a couple bugs, which one of is again that the NPCs are pacified and they will not attack you. This could be a problem for plugins, for example for a fight club. People would be earning money very efficiently because they won't fight back. So for that, I would say leave it at 1436 until these issues are fixed. Below here, you basically do not have to change anything. If you have a OneSync license key, then you want to put this key into this box right here. But for that, you need to get a license key first. You can do that by signing up on the CFX Patreon, and depending on which package you choose, also dictates how many players you can have at maximum in your server. With OneSync off, this is going to be 32, and with OneSync on, this can be 48 on a free license. If you want to go past that, you need to go to Patreon for CFX, and then you will be able to go past 48 players. When everything is done and set, you're gonna click on Save. Again, we're going to wait until the status is being determined. When that is done, we're going to do the next step. It could be that whenever Zap installs the server the first time, it also automatically runs the server. If that is the case, we have stopped the server in the beginning of this video, but it already created the cache. And we are now going to FTP into the files and delete the files so we can inject the files that come with DokusCore. If you then need to delete all these files, inclusive the cache, that's gonna take quite a while to do. So it would be easy to just go down here at the bottom, and we're gonna click on Delete Cache Files. It brings us to the top. We wait for it to be determined, and once that is done, we're going back to the bottom, and we're also going to delete the node modules and the yarn cache. Once those are deleted, we can go start FTPing. Now, to get the FTP information, we're going to scroll down and hit the tab FTP Browser. Here you will see all the information you need to FTP into the files of the server. Keep in mind, though, you see all the information right here, this will be changed right after the video and before it's online, of course. They recommend to use FileZilla or WinSCP. I myself have FileZilla, so I'm going to open that one. In here, we're going to paste the IP address, what is going to be the host, the username, the password, and the port is 21. Basically, you don't have to fill that in FileZilla because it always starts it with port 21 at default. If it's a different port, like 28, 26 or something else, then of course you are going to fill that in. We're going to click on Quick Connect. And this is going to give us a file like this. For you, of course, it will look a little different. We're going to click on this file and we're going to click on RedM. Here you're going to see a couple of files. The current version, that is the file that holds the artifact version. If you want to change your artifact version to something else, you can click on right click, edit and view, or view and edit. And here you can change the number of the artifact version. Make sure that the server is stopped and then restart it. We're going to click on server data. And then you see here the server.cfg. What we want is we want to keep this file for a moment, because in here there is a port that we want to use for people to connect to your server. Though we with DokusCore give you a different server.cfg file, so there is one thing that you need to change in it. So we're going to drag this file to the desktop or anywhere you like, and we're going to save it for a moment. Right now you can select both of these files and then just hit the delete key on your keyboard and say yes. Then we go into resources, and then you find all the default resources that your server needs to run. These can be deleted. So we click on the delete button and we're going to click on yes. This is going to delete all these folders and files. This is going to take a little bit, so once it's done, I'll be back. When it is done, you're going to see it like this. Just to check, we're going to server data, we're going back, and we actually click refresh, and we see nothing in this directory. What you're going to do now is you're going to go to DokusCore on GitHub, and you're going to click the server prebuild. Then you're going to click on code and download the zip. I already have done that. I'll put the link in the description. I have the zip file right here. So right click on the zip and then click WinRAR. In my case, it's WinRAR. It could be that you have 7-zip or any other program that is an archiver that you like to use. I'll put the link for WinRAR in the description. You're gonna highlight WinRAR, and then you're going to say extract into a folder. So we're gonna do that. Then we're going to open the folder. And first what we're going to do is we're going to edit some files. So open the editor of your choice. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag the server prebuild main into this editor. So we can do that like so. Then in here, we're going to the server. We're going to the underscore data. And then you find this resources file in here. So what we can do in the meantime, while we are editing the server information, we're going to the main, server, and data. You will find the resources folder. Everything that is in here needs to be copied to Zap Hosting. So we see that we confirm that we are in the resources folder. We're going to highlight these two, and we're going to drag them and drop them right in here. This will start transferring the 1300, almost 1400 files to Zap Hosting. This is going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to close this down. And in the meantime, we're going to change some of the files right here. So again, admins are going to be put up like this. You can just take the Steam ID and put them on the list right here. For DokusCore, this is only needed if they need to have the permission to restart resources within the F8 in their client console. You have your credentials. For Zap Hosting, you can take the SV clients away because they set this automatically inside the server.cfg. You can set here the name, the project name, the description, and the display queue. These are the options that we have disabled on Zap. The tags you can fill in here. This is also one of the options that were disabled. Here you can set the language and the logo. There is a logo delivered with DokusCore. It's called dclogo.png. It's in the root file, so you can actually find it right here. If you want to change that, it is here. If you want to change that and you want to put your own logo in, it has a different name. Make sure to change it right here. This is the game name that we have left open on Zap Hosting. And we also have here the set enforce game build. Here OneSync is set to on. If you want to have this off, you can just put a pound in front of it, and then it will be disabling OneSync. But we leave it on. Then you have the resources file. This file contains all the plugins and resources that you want to load in to DokusCore on the server start. The server file is going to be the important file at this right moment. There is basically nothing in here. As explained before, I want to keep the server file secure if you, for example, later decide to use DxAdmin. The admins will only be able to see into this file and this file only if you give them the permissions to. In the server.cfg that Zap gave us, if we open that, Zap is giving you this line right here. 127.0.0.1 means it's localhost, and then they gave you the port. This is what we are going to copy, and we're going to copy that to the server.cfg of DokusCore. So for us that is 0000, what also means localhost, and then the port. We're going to change that to what Zap provides and save this file. In the meantime, I saw that FileZilla was done uploading all the files. Make sure that there were no files that failed to transfer. If that is so, then it could be that the server was still running and unable to upload some of the files. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on server data. This is the place where we're going to put all the CFG files. So we go to the folder of DokusCore, and the files you need to transfer are the admin CFG, the credentials, the logo, the resources, and the server.cfg. The bat file is not needed because you're having a Linux server and Zap runs the server for you automatically. The license is not needed because Zap is doing that for you. And also the database is not needed because this is also done via Zap Hosting. So we drag these files in and copy them over to Zap Hosting. Now that all these files are in, you have basically done this part. There is nothing more to do. What we're now going to do is we are going to connect to the database and we're going to insert the right database to Zap Hosting. But before we do, we go back to the editor, and then in the folder database, you see that there are two files here. Normally there is one file. It could be that there is a second file for an update. What we're going to do for both files is we're going into the file, and then you see here DokusCore. If you try to run this, then your Zap server will not work. The server will start up, but you will hit a lot of errors and problems within the server itself, and things will simply not work. For that, we go back to Zap Hosting, and then here we're going to below to the databases. I'm going to click on that, and this is going to give you all the information you need to open and install your database. I am using HeidiSQL, and that is recommended to install as this is an easy way of browsing your data. You can also do this via phpMyAdmin, but in this tutorial I'm going to do it via HeidiSQL. So I'm going to open HeidiSQL, and for you this is going to be empty. I am going to make a new one. As I said, for you it's going to be empty, so you are going to need to make a new one. I'm just going to call this Zap2 for a moment because I already have one. I am gonna copy the server/IP address, and that is what I'm going to fill in right here. I am going to copy the username, and that is what I'm going to fill in on right here. It often says root. We're going to switch that to this username. I'm going to click on the password, and that one I'm going to fill in right here. The port you can leave at 3306. Then you click on open and say yes if you get that pop-up. This is the table that you're gonna see that comes from Zap Hosting, and it is empty. What we're going to do is we're going to copy the database name, because this is exactly the same name as the table, the database table in here. That is the name that we're going to switch with DokusCore. So we're going to switch it to Zap and save the file. For the update for the converted plugins, we are going to do the exact same. So we're going to say create database if not exists for this one, and then also this one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to the first file. This is the file that always says dcdb and then a date. This is DokusCore database and then the date it was created. We're going to copy all the information that's in here and then go to HeidiSQL. You're going to select the top of your database and then hit the Query tab. We're going to insert all information and then we're going to hit the Run button. This will start putting all the information that's in here into this Zap database. We're going to wait for a moment until this is done. If everything got inserted and executed without any error, then we can continue. We're gonna backspace on this. We're going to the second file. We're gonna copy this. And we're gonna do the exact same. Paste it in here and run. Then we're going to highlight everything and delete the information. You always delete the information from the query when you're done with it. What we're going to do is we're going to highlight the name Zap2. In your case, it will be your name. And we're going to click on refresh. Now you can open the Zap table and you will see that you have all the information and all the tables needed for DokusCore to run. And this was basically it. These were all the steps that you had to do to get DokusCore running on Zap Hosting. So to confirm that the server is installed correctly, we go to the panel and we're going to click on Run. And we're going to wait until the server status says it's online. Now it says that the server is started. What we're going to do is we're going to copy the IP address right here, inclusive the pool. And then we're going to open RedM. And we're going to open F8. Why we're doing it via F8 is that it takes some time for your server to be on the list. And thus you have to use the connect option. So we type F8 and then we paste in the IP plus pool and hit enter. You start seeing that I'm now starting to log into the DokusCore framework. So there you go. That is how you install the pre-build of DokusCore on Zap Hosting. If you still need some help, have any questions or suggestions, you can always contact us via discord.io/DokusCore. Again, many thanks to Wilby for lending his account so we could create this video. If you want to help us, you can like this video and give it a subscribe. But with most of all, you can always help us by sending in bugs if you find them, as that will help us the most in better the framework. We wish you a lot of fun with the DokusCore framework. My name is DevDokus, and until the next video.